And you gotta play hard to get because men love the chase. They actually don't anymore. Okay? They are not fucking with the chase anymore, let me tell you.
Yes, things are finally changing. More and more men realize that the only thing that women have to offer, besides that thing that we can either do ourselves or purchase essentially one way or another, the only other thing they have to offer is to provide us with a large bill for the dinners, the drinks, their nails, the purses, the trips, and on and on and on and on. More and more men, especially Western men, realize that having a girlfriend is just no longer, unfortunately, a good thing. It is a lot of times is just having yet another bill that and the money is never worth what you're getting for it, which most of the time is just sex. Modern women very rarely now offer anything beyond sex. That's why men like me move out of America and other Western countries and come right here to Southeast Asia, where women still know how to be feminine, how to cook, how to clean, how to respect men. I mean, we're just talking about some basic. Now, don't get me wrong. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you know there are some major things that are changing here, and unfortunately a lot of it is not in a good way. But generally speaking, this is why a lot of men are still little by little either moving out of those countries for this reason or just stop dating women altogether. They still would have sex with women one way or another, but as far as seriously considering dating women, a lot of men have just walked away from that altogether. And I have to say that unfortunately, even though I live right here in Southeast Asia, I am kind of 90% there as well. And honestly, my lifestyle is so good here that I don't really see that much of a need to have like a serious relationship or a partner. And I will be making a video about what's going on here in Thailand. I think I've mentioned this several times in my different videos that, you know, women here are a lot of times, even though more feminine, even though more submissive, even though more traditional, still are not marriage material for many other reasons that I never even thought about and nobody told me until I got here and got to know them. And things are changing. These women are getting westernized one way or another, which, you know, no surprise there. And they're kind of taking a lot of their behavior from Western women. Now, Western women nowadays, as this woman kind of realizing that, you know, men are walking away from that behavior. Men are realizing that, listen, it's almost never worth it, or never worth it to go after women, to chase women, and so forth and so forth. And many women, as they've now realized, and they're running out of time, or many of them very close to, they realize that they have to chase good men, because it's the majority of men who walked away are men who have some boundaries and self-esteem and traditional values and so forth. We're the first men to walk away, though more and more men, even simps, are now joining us because they're just tired of being taken advantage of, having women take their money, take their time, take their really dignity, and leave them with pretty much nothing. I know plenty of guys who've dated women for weeks and months, got no sex whatsoever from these women, but spend more money than some husbands spend on their entire families in that span of time. So, you know, finally things are changing, and I'm seeing more and more videos like this one where women get on TikTok or YouTube or whatever on social media and saying, hey, these men are walking away. We're really starting to have shortage of men. By that I mean good men, men who these women actually would want to date. And I know what a lot of you would say, oh yeah, well, these girls only want to date, you know, 6'5", whatever, and with 100,000. But honestly, that's just a bullshit that a lot of red pillars told you that have no evidence or statistics or science behind it, especially with the height. Yes, there are some women who prefer guys who are taller, but at the end of the day, it's not a thing. Forget about this height thing, it's just not true. A lot of women who are good women, who actually want to have boyfriends and husbands, they don't care about the height that much at all. Just like, you know, a lot of guys want big boobs, right? But a lot of times you meet a good girl with not big boobs, all of a sudden you'll take it because of how good of a woman she is to you, how good of a mother she can be to your future children, and all that stuff. And all of a sudden, the big boobs are not that important to you. So women operate kind of very closely to the same concept of, you will compromise some of the visuals for, what this person brings to the table as a romantic and life partner. So I feel like that is kind of been the same as long as we're talking about women who actually seek relationships. And more of these women realize that they do want relationships. By the way, wait until a recession hits, because, we're going to hit a recession at some point, and right now is probably not the bad time to predict that. And that's where a lot of women realize, we're not so independent anymore. And for some, the recession is simply hitting their 30s or 40s, and they realize that the men they want, that they used to be able to get but never really kind of took seriously, now don't really want them. Because, I have to admit that I'm almost 50 myself, and for me to have a privilege of changing some girl's life here in Thailand or wherever, so I can provide and protect and make her life amazing for the rest of her life, for me to have that privilege, she would have to be pretty young. She would have to be very pretty, right? Most likely in her 20s. Not that it's a problem here. I mean, I've dated women who are pretty young here, and even as young as 19, when I was like maybe 47. And that's not even in Southeast Asia. So, but at the end of the day, a lot of women in their 30s realize that, the only time they are a younger, youthful woman is if they date men in their 50s and 60s, where I'm getting at also pretty soon. But they don't want those men, right? Because those men don't have six packs. Those men, are not. So the crisis is definitely going to continue. And I think at the end of the day, even though I hate the fact that it's a war between the two sexes, men will come out on top. Women will soon realize, and it's already happening, as you can see by videos like this, that their behavior is not sustainable. Their behavior is no longer even beneficial to them. Like I said, yes, they all had a lot of fun taking money from simps and getting all attention and validations and likes and stuff like that. And many of them are still doing that, especially younger women. But the ship is finally starting to right, and more women realize that if they don't really get their shit together and start being appealing to men in many ways, more than one, especially with their behavior and what they have to offer, they might just as well get their wish and spend the rest of their lives alone. If you're a single guy and you're still dating, well, let me help you out when it comes to analyzing dating profiles. All you have to do is take snapshots of a dating profile of a girl you're interested in and upload it into this ChatGPT app called the Dating Profile Analyzer. It is free, and it will give you all the green, yellow, and most importantly, red flags about that profile. You're welcome.